So I figured it would be a good idea to take a moment and answer a question that you may not have asked yet, but you will if you haven't already, which is why aren't we doing this in Dreamweaver? I usually do get this question. I only wanted to take this course so I could learn Dreamweaver, which I find a depressing statement, and yet I understand why people think this. They think, quite rightly, that it would be difficult to become a graphic designer or do design work without using Photoshop, and so it must be the same for web development, right? Well, frankly, taking a look at some job listings will give you an idea that lots of places want you to do hand coding as well, and that's what we're doing in this course, hand coding. I'm going to give you a couple of explanations for why this is the case, and hopefully I can make them compelling. The first is that it's a little bit like learning how to use hand tools before you use power tools. That is, if you want to become really good at making furniture, you don't start with a circular saw. You start by hand cutting dovetails. Now, that metaphor doesn't quite work because hand cutting dovetails is really hard to do, and you produce superior results by using a dovetail jig or using mechanized hardware. So it doesn't quite work as a metaphor because, frankly, the power tools in this case tend to be a little bit rough. Dreamweaver is an outstanding piece of software. I do use it fairly infrequently. Some shops use it with almost exclusively. They do all their work in Dreamweaver. It's not worth completely dismissing. There is a time when it will become when it might become useful to you. However, it is not the case that you produce the same quality of work in Dreamweaver as you will by hand. No one yet can match hand-coded HTML. Dreamweaver and similar programs tend to lag behind the standard quite a bit. So while other designers will be able to create stuff using the newest standards and the newest techniques, you're going to have to wait for the folks at Adobe to work that into their product so that you can do it. So there are a couple of reasons not to use Dreamweaver, or at least to use it once you already know how to do the good stuff. That's where it becomes particularly useful. Once you can hand code, then you can do that coding within Dreamweaver as your sort of development environment, or you can rely on it to do some of the more rote pieces. But without that core knowledge of how to hand code HTML, you're in trouble. So there's one piece of it. The other piece is, frankly, the web is meant to be free. It's meant to be something you can develop sitting on a phone or with a basic web browser and a free piece of FTP client. There's no good reason for it to go to an editor, to go to a WYSIWYG editor. It doesn't produce better code. It doesn't necessarily do it faster, although when working in a team it might. And it costs money without really good cause to do so. So that's why we're not doing it here. We expect you to be sort of web professionals, which means being able to do more than just throw something into a WYSIWYG editor and have it come out as a site. That doesn't, again, mean that I'm against Dreamweaver. In fact, I have to say that if you had asked this 10 years ago, I was on the exact opposite side of this argument. What I was saying was, yes, Go Live and Front Page and Dreamweaver were at their early stages, but give it 5 or 10 years and those products will have developed to the point where it's no longer necessary for us to teach hand coding of HTML. It'll be all WYSIWYG. The products will be good enough that you will no longer need to know the core basics. And I've reversed that position. They have improved significantly since then, but they're never going to be as good, I don't think, as someone who is hand coding. This is a final piece that may not apply to all of you, but somewhere down the line you'll be doing actual programming, even in this course, and certainly if you're doing theme development. For programming, it's especially useful to be able to know how to write HTML, since in many cases you're programming a computer to write HTML for you. So if you yourself are not sure how to use it, it's really difficult to tell a computer how to use it for you. And so for those of you who want to go beyond the basics and who want to be producing interactive websites that can actually do some things that are more than just presenting information, that are a little more dynamic, then it's vital that you understand how HTML works as code. And so for this course, you're welcome to go and take a look at Dreamweaver on your own. There's no way that I would know if you were using Dreamweaver to develop things, but I won't support your use in it because it ends up taking way too much time, and I won't be touching on it as a major piece of this course. All right, thanks.